The following episode was recorded shortly before the passing of WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan and contains discussion about us attending a WWE show in 2003 where Rich got to finally see the legendary Hulkster live for the first time.
It's the Middle-aged Bodcast. Getting older, but having some laughs.
Well, welcome to the Middle-aged Bodcast with me, Raging Rich.
And me, T.A. Shalana.
And T.A., it is our final guest episode of Season 4, and we are joined by Cultaholic's Tom Campbell.
Are you? Oh, wow, that'll be fun when he gets here. I love that you're Raging Rich, yet you're really lovely, nice and softly spoken.
That's what everybody says.
I had a mate back in the day from Coventry called Crazy Dave. And he was called Crazy Dave, but he was the most mild-mannered human you've ever met. Like, he was lovely. So you're kind of the new Crazy Dave in my eyes, Raging Rich.
I was kind of trying to take it from, because there's Angry Ginge, isn't there, the YouTuber? And I'll be moaning about stuff all the time because that's how I normally am. And then everyone always says, yeah, you're the calmest man on podcast. Yeah.
I think what you perceive as like a big moan, you're probably just like mildly disgruntled. You're not so much the angry video game nerd. You're more sort of like the strongly worded email. But I say it with love, Rich. I say it with nothing but love.
No, totally. I completely agree with what you're saying, to be honest. That is enough there.
I mean, just to put on this, but when we started doing this and he kind of chose that, I said, are you sure you're going to go with that? You know, in terms of once you get to...
Well, Ravishing Rick Rude was taken.
And he kind of went with it. And it's like now he did the cover design for my book. So it's even on there, designed by Raging Rich. So he's stuck with it now for life.
It's the cover art by Raging Rich. That's a great. Yeah. Have you got it copyrighted, like properly?
No.
You should.
I'll just change it if I have to.
No, because get it copyrighted. Get it sent off to the copyright agencies. Then you can, if anybody else calls himself Raging Rich, you just have that life for it. Make some money. Michael Buffer, greatest ring announcer of our generation, and it's a beer I'm very proud to have, has copyrighted the phrase, "Let's get ready to rumble." So if I was on a broadcast to, as a ring announcer, invite the audience to get ready to rumble, Buffer could send like people after me to steal my wallet and break my legs. So I'm not going to attempt it just in case he does.
This is why, and I'm full of random sad facts. This is why the Anton Deck song, Let's Get Ready to Rumble, rumble is spelt with a H in it.
Why it's spelt with a H. That keeps Buffer in the buffer zone.
Really? Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, that's why it's spelt with a H. Even though they use his voice in it, it's spelt with a H purely for the copyright, yeah?
They can use a soundbite of him for X amount of money, but then when they actually label it, then that's a whole different bag of money that they need to hand over. So... this is a way of getting around it. You're welcome. What a day.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us, Tom. Really do appreciate you giving us some time to chat.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, absolutely. We're, as I say, really grateful to have you here and chat, obviously, a little bit of wrestling as well later on. But primarily, this all started because I asked for a soundbite via Cameo and you very graciously provided that. Thank you. And we've been using that. You've probably heard. Probably owe you a lot of royalties.
No, I'm not going to Michael Buffer you. It's fine. No, we have a gentleman's agreement on that. And I said, you're fine to use it. That's not a problem. No, it was lovely. That was, I do like the Cameo stuff's been good fun. Like, I do enjoy doing those. It's something that we've organised through Cultaholic. All the staff jump on Cameo and do stuff there. The one thing, I think it says a lot about what people think of you in some of the requests that I get. And a lot of the stuff that I get through Cameo are people saying, I'm going through a really rough time and I could just do with a little bit of your positivity just to cheer me up. Or like, I've got a job interview on Monday and I could really do with some positivity about it. And I'm really, really blessed that the majority of people that reach out to me, at least through Cameo, are people who are going like, I just could do with a little bit of the energy that you bring. And through the medium of talking about grown men in underpants pretending to hit each other, I think I'm putting out some good into the world, which at my tender age of 41, I'm very proud to do.
I think you definitely are. And certainly we've seen that with a lot of the things that you're doing with Cultaholic and things that you're doing yourself as well, with some of your personal projects and things like that. You mentioned, obviously, and you're 41 now, and last year, 2024, obviously a big year for you, turning 40. You also got married as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. She hasn't changed her mind yet, so that's good. It's confirmed on a few occasions, but she's sticking in there.
T.A.'s always saying that he's...
Yeah, I'm coming up to 11 years.
Oh, mate, Trade Robbers didn't get that long.
It's tough. I didn't look like this 11 years ago.
Oh, dear. We did love you, Mrs. Shalano.
But you also ran the Great North Run as well last year. And just wondered what that was like with hitting all those milestones sort of in 2024.
Well, I signed up to do it initially because it was last year was the year I got married, and I was just keen to be in better physical shape for my wedding. And it sounds awful when I say it out loud. I just thought that whatever happens come my wedding day, like if I'm same size I am, if I'm small, if I'm larger, I'm still getting married. And I didn't think that was, it sounds awful, but I thought that's not enough of a driver for me to do it. It should have been 100%. Because therefore I went, well, I'm going to sign up to the Great North Run. Because if I'm not in good shape by the tail end of this year, I will die. Because I have to survive this half marathon from Newcastle to South Shields. So therefore, it's like, well, I have to be in shape to do that. Because that's just going to be the worst day if I don't. And I was really proud of the fact that I did it. And did it in like 3 hours and 13, I think it was. So, you know, I certainly wasn't the slowest person doing it. But even if you were, the fact that you did it is amazing. But my mission was I want to run the whole thing. And I did. Not at top speed all the way, but I certainly did what would be classed by the government as a run. You know, there's no trade description out there, and what I did was basically a run. And I realized how much in the build-up to that I enjoyed running. And I came from someone who wasn't really into running. I started doing a bit of running during lockdown. I got the Couch to 5K app because, again, I could feel myself getting a bit doughy, and I just thought I just want to do something just to sort of stave off the gelatinousness that was becoming my middle bit. And I thought, well, look, I love walking. I could walk for hours and hours and hours on end, but running seems to be a good thing to do. So I got the Couch to 5K app, and I remember that first day that I set out on that Couch to 5K app. So if you're not familiar with it, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I cannot big up. In particular, it's the BBC endorsed Couch to 5K app, which I use. And I had Joe Wiley guiding me around, which is lovely of her. Basically, so you get the app, and then they talk you through like 3 runs a week. And the first one is you go out and you run for 30 seconds, and then you walk for 90 seconds, and then you run for 30 seconds, and then you walk for 90 seconds. And you do that for about half an hour. And by the end of it, you go, oh, that was horrible. Bloody, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. And then you take the following day off, and then you do the same thing again. And within a couple of weeks, I remember genuinely getting a bit like emotional with myself, because I managed to run for 12 minutes straight. And that felt like a phenomenal. I was like, no way, I just ran for 12 minutes nonstop. That's amazing. And then you just start knocking down the milestones like dominoes then. And then before you know it, like there I am doing the Great North Run and running for 3 hours consecutively. And I've signed up again this year, doing it again in September. A friend of ours is going through a really, really awful time, and one of the charities that has supported her is the Mid Yorkshire Hospitals charity, so I'm running for them. But the most exciting part is that I'm doing it now like lighter than I did it last year, because I've been on a bit of a weight loss journey this year as well. So what's quite excited about doing it this time round is, whilst I've not had as much time to actually go running as much as I want to do, because I normally, by this time last year, I'd run the route of the Great North Run twice in training. I'd run from Newcastle to South Shields twice. And I haven't done that this year. And I get a little bit stressy about it, but I'm doing loads of other extra exercise as well, which isn't the running. And I'm also lighter than I was. So in my head, I'm going, there's no way I can't be ready for this come September. Even if I don't do the run before September, I should still be ready for it. But honestly, it's unbelievable. When I remember the version of me, first Couch to 5K, and just felt really depressed at going, I've run for like 30 seconds of time and I feel like I'm about to keel over, to the Tom that crossed the finish line at the Great North Run last September. They feel like different people. And it's such a cliche, and I'll probably say this a few times throughout our time today, lads. Honest to God, if I can do it, anyone can. If I can do it, anyone can, I swear to God.
Well, I think it's important you've talked about there is the bit where you start, because I think a lot of people try and rush, don't they, to do something or get fit really quickly. But starting with something that is achievable and building up, it shows what you can do over time. And I know park run at the moment. I know a few people doing 5Ks and then they're building up and they do 10Ks and things like that. I am thinking about it. Somebody this morning sent me one they've done, and they go out on a Saturday morning and do this, and they've been doing it for the last sort of couple of months. And it just shows you, a bit of motivation, get up on a Saturday morning and go and do something is, it's such a positive.
Yeah, if it's something you want to do, then honest to God, the pavement's free. Just do it. And there's always reasons. There's always going to be reasons that you shouldn't do it and you can't do it and you won't do it. I get it. But honestly, I think the trickiest bit is to start and make it as easy for yourself as possible. If you want to do it, make it as easy for yourself as possible, because there's been some days where I've woke up and I've gone, right, I'm going to go for a run in the morning, and I go for a run in the morning. I don't want to go for a run in the morning. So I will make sure that by the door, I have got my running shorts, I've got my socks, and I've got my trainers and a shirt. And I apologize if I've crossed anybody whilst out running, because either my alarm or my furry alarm behind me here today, that's my cat Pablo, whichever wakes me up first, normally it's dickhead there. I'll open my eyes and I'll just walk towards the front door and I'll put trainers on. I won't shower, I won't wash, I won't brush teeth, trainers, shorts, headphones, go. And I'll still be rubbing sleep out of my eyes as I'm heading out of the front door. I'm like, we're out now. We're doing it. We're here now. We're just going to do it. And then we're going to go back. And I always feel better. It's frustrating because in that moment you go, I can't be bothered. And it's a fight sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. We go, I can't be bothered. But the moment I do it, I go, yes, I feel great. I started, as part of this weight loss thing, I found a YouTube channel that I quite like called the Team Body Project. I'll give them a plug. I don't think they've uploaded videos in like a year, but they've got like hundreds on there. And they're these sort of low impact, high fat burn workouts that they do. And they're like 20 minutes, 30 minutes or an hour. And if I do nothing else in a day, I'll put one of those on as soon as I come home, because I'll inevitably come home from Cultaholic and I'll doom scroll or I'll just do nothing. And I'll go, that's time. So that's like personal time that I could have done something with. So I've just got into the habit of going, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put that on and I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to put these shorts on. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to start. I'm not going to think about it. And I always feel better at the end. And my advice to you is, if you think I'm thinking about it, just start and make it as easy as yourself as possible. Be as kind to yourself as possible. You will feel better at the end.
So, I go with fits and starts. One of the things I've spoken quite a bit about on this show before is the fitness trainer from America, Sean T, and some of Insanity workout type stuff. And I go in fits and starts. I've been getting back into stuff the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, and I actually did that this morning, but just in another end of the brilliant, yeah. So I'm a big fan of him. But one of the things, I know exactly what you're talking about, because there's been a couple of mornings this week where I prefer doing in the morning early and getting out of the way. And it's that thing where you're like, oh, but Sean, one of the things he said is, you have to conquer your mind to conquer your body. So it's all in the mind, isn't it? Once you get out of bed and you get up and you get out, like you were talking about with the running, you find it's just that bit, that nagging voice in your head that's telling you to stay in bed or do something else.
Yeah.
And beat that, you're fine, but it is a constant battle. You just have to keep going.
Get at it. Rich, you're working out, right?
So my thing, like, T.A.'s been doing great because he does the Insanity thing. I've tried stuff. I've tried going on the exercise bike. I've tried like things in the past that have never really worked for me. I'm trying to find something. I did look up Couch to 5K, but now you've said what it's actually like, I might give that a go, because that does...
Go out with T.A. You two do it together. You and T.A. get out there together. Have a lovely time.
Well, I've seen you going out for, like, you posted all the time. You're going out for a run at 3 a.m.
I did breakfast radio for a long time before I landed in the role that I'm doing now. And for me, early morning is like my best time. So I think even if the cat wasn't waking me up or the alarm wasn't waking me up, I'm naturally up early anyway. It's my favorite time of day. Everything feels fresh and new. My mind is probably the most electric it could be all day. And then as sort of by the time I get to 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I start to wind down. But first thing in the morning is the best time. I love the feeling of once I've been out in the morning and got it done, that feeling of going, I've done that now. I've got because of that, I've got 15,000 steps on the clock. And it's not even 8 o'clock yet. Let's go. Like, everything else today is a bonus. Anything else that I do today is a bonus, because I've already done the bit that I was kind of reticent to do. Everything else today is a bonus, but it's not for everyone. I will admit that some people prefer doing like runs at sunset and stuff like that. And I've tried a few of those in the summer. I do always prefer going out first thing in the morning because then it's done then, except if I'm really sleepy. But more often than not, I'll be out.
Like, I need to find something because, like, since we've been doing this, the mental health stuff's been really helpful that we've been learning about, and the cooking side of things, because I have been terrible at cooking. But since we've been doing this, picking up a lot of things, and we have done a cooking special as well in a previous episode and things like that.
Do you get like the recipe boxes?
No, I haven't been.
Mate, it's the ultimate cheat code for people who can't cook or don't think they can cook, because it literally gives you everything in the sachet sizes that you need and the clearest instructions on how to go through it. Like, I've made like you feel like Gordon Pig and Ramsay, because it just talks you through every element of it and you haven't got to stress about any of it. My wife's incredible cook. Like, she's able to kind of busk it with certain things and try things and be creative with things. And this is why we're a great team, because she has like ideas for stuff that she wants to do and how she wants to do it. But I'll go, like, planning the wedding was a great example of this. Planning the wedding was she had all these wonderful ideas for how the room wanted to look and how things should be laid out and stuff that she wanted to bring in. And I love that. And I always feel like I feel bad because I don't really know what would look good to complement that, but I trust your vision. But she would get a little bit stuck with like where to start in terms of making that happen. So it would tend to be, this is what I want, these are the people I need to speak to about it. So therefore I go, right, you decide all those things, I will make the calls, I will sort all of that out. So that was where we were a good team, where she would go, these are the things I'd like to see happen and I'd like for the wedding. So I go, right, okay, I know to ring them, sort that, get that delivered, do that. And so she's got like this wonderful vision for stuff like that. And if I've got like a list when it comes to cooking, if I've got like a list or a recipe in front of me, I'll just follow the list verbatim. And that tends to go quite well. We're on Slimming World at the moment because that's part of my weight loss thing. We're doing Slimming World. And so often I'll be on the app picking sin-free things. And I don't know, I'll normally go, if a recipe has more than like 6 items in it, I tend just to go, oh God, it sounds like a chew on. They brought out a great Slimming World book, which I've now used so much that like the pages are worn in it, which is like recipes using just 5 items. I'm like, yes, that's my spirit. That's my speed. 5 things: a potato, carrot, this sauce, chicken breast, that spice. Brilliant. Do that. Anything more than 6 ingredients and I get lost. But are you on it? But I would recommend to you, Rich, getting the HelloFresh and recipe boxes and stuff like that. You're a podcast, sure you can get sponsored by it. We're just going to take a break to have a chat about our friends at HelloFresh. T.A, I don't know about you, but I can't be asked to cook because I'm so busy avoiding doing runs. So, thanks to HelloFresh, I don't have to think about it. And you use the code podcast and you get your first 2 boxes for free. There you go. Very good.
You made me laugh with the Slimming World because my mother-in-law does that, but she seems to have a habit of not counting her wine.
I must admit, I've got on the app, you have to write down everything you have. I do often forget to put down beer, and then I'll have a bad week and go, yeah, it's because I drank 6 pints. Have either of you done Slimming World?
Maybe that's what we need to do for a season.
I think you should. Right. So for me, I've tried different like diets and weight loss techniques as has my wife. And for me, like nothing really sticks. And it was the best success I had with losing weight was in 2018 when I joined my wife at Slimming World. She was my girlfriend at that point. We joined Slimming World together. And it is the accountability that absolutely gets me over the line and gets me results, because I know I can put in my mouth and in my face whatever I want during the week. But one night I have to go to a church function room and I have to stand in front of some wonderful middle-aged ladies and explain why I've gained or lost. And for some reason, I did that in 2018 and I lost 3.5 stone. And then we both felt a bit disillusioned by it, because men and women lose weight in different ways and at different paces as well. And I know that my wife won't tell me she struggled with it because the way that they calculate it all is always by pounds lost. But there was a couple of weeks where she was told, oh no, you've not lost anything this week, or you've gained 0.5 pound. But she was like dropping dress sizes. and gaining muscle because she was weightlifting. And I think she just felt a bit disillusioned by it because I was like, well, no, because I'm clearly healthier, but you're telling me that I'm not doing well. So we both ended up coming away. And then I ended up during lockdown that putting the weight back on. And then it all came to a head last year. Even after I'd done the Great North Run, even after I got married, Alex played me one night. I said, oh, you were making some funny noises last night. She recorded me snoring, and lads, I sounded like I was dying. And she didn't do it like an intervention. She just went, oh, this was funny. Listen how you sounded. And it really upset me. Like, I got very teary because I was like, oh my God, you have to lie next to it. Like, it sounds like I'm about to keel over. And I went, right, no more. This has to end now. And I did the thing I'd been putting off for a long, long time, and I stood on the scales. And I was like, wow, I think I'm the fattest I've ever been. That's an achievement. That explains a lot. Why I make this weird pug noise mid-sentence sometimes. That's why I've got so many free sausage rolls on my Greg's app. This all makes sense now. So to Alex, the only thing that's ever worked for me is Slimming World. So I think I'm going to go back. You're welcome to come with me, but I know it didn't work for you last time, but I think I got to go back. So I went back in January, and true to as it was in 2018, I'm now like 30 pounds lighter than I was at the start of the year. It's just that accountability, and it gives me that focus. And I think that, and then the bits of running that I've been able to do, and then the training and stuff, I'm now at a point where I'm 41, but I feel like I'm 31 again, which is amazing. And I'm not even there yet. My goal weight is still like 2.5 stone off. So I'm not there yet, but I'm already feeling the benefits of it. Like I'm sleeping better. My relationship with food has got better. It's not perfect, you know. This morning, because we're going away for a weekend, and as we're getting ready, and I'm waiting to chat to you guys. There's because I want to just prove like I'm not just like eating carrot and running all the time. I am also a pig. There's a place called Pablo Escobar. They do these amazing, you know, like the McMuffins you get from McDonald's. They do that, but they do it in a bao bun. And then they do these hash browns that have got this mysterious spice on that Alex told me what it was called, but I can't remember. And they are just to die for. I said, should we get Pablo Escobar before we get the train today? He said, oh yes, let's do it. And I looked on the app and it said last ordered in March. And I was like, well, that's good, because there was a point where it was like last ordered Wednesday. So it's got better. So I am still a pig in that regard, and it's not a perfect journey, but on the whole, like I feel healthier and my relationship with food has got better on the whole, but it's not a perfect journey. Somebody asked me, and I think the timing of it's quite funny. Somebody asked me at the wrestling, and there was a comment on one of our YouTube videos that actually they didn't even ask me. They just told me that I was on Ozempic, which is the weight loss drug. And someone said, oh, that Ozempic's working out well for you. And it's so funny because I know I've got friends and I've got family that are taking the Manjaro, Ozempic or whatever. And it's changing their lives, and it's amazing. And I'm so happy to see people that I love who have been through it and have had fights with their own weight turning a corner on it. The biggest buzz I get is from watching great things happen to nice people, and I can see that I'm so delighted for them. And I thought, I don't want to sound dismissive of it, and I wanted to sort of punctuate that before I say this, because I'm so happy for them, and I'm happy for people that are taking them and feeling better for it. I almost felt a bit annoyed when they said it, because I was like, no, I'm just eating less and moving more. Like, it was just the assumption, Tom's doing that weight loss. No, and I'm keen to get that out there as well and go, no, I'm just doing it the boring old-fashioned way, and it's working. But again, no judgment on anybody that's taking it or anything like that, because I know that for some people it's really changing their lives, and more power to you.
I think that's been my big problem. I eat a lot of rubbish sometimes, and doing this, I've cut a lot of it out, but I have a bad day sometimes, and I'm like, I'm just going to go and buy a great big giant chocolate bar or
emotional eating. That's what I've had to work through, because I realised there was a few moments this year where I was going, well, I eat when I'm happy, I eat when I'm sad, I eat to celebrate, I eat to commiserate. I need to change that. Like I had some rough news earlier in the year that I had to kind of deal with, and I had to go, right, my go-to thing now after having to deal with this situation is to comfort eat. And just go and get something to make, and I have to go, no, I can't do that today. I'm not going to do that today. As much as I want to, I'm not going to do that today. And I did. And then about a week later, I had some wonderful news come down that really made my day. Something really exciting that was coming up. And I I went, my go-to here is to get some really nice to eat to celebrate. And I'm not going to do that. And I can't do that. And I won't do that. I think that day, I felt very proud of myself. That day, I ended up going home. And instead of just like ordering some lovely, delicious garbage from Greg's, I went on that Team Body project and did like a 45-minute workout and said, I'm going to do that instead. I don't do that every day, but it's changing that relationship with food. And Rich, yours sounds similar to mine. And it's a never-ending battle. It's a never-ending battle.
I was doing really well. So we were saying, weren't we? My big vice is fizzy pop. I was starting to cut that down. And like the cooking better and all this stuff. And then if I have a bad day sometimes, I will say yesterday I'd bought some multi-pack of Twixies to hide throughout the week to take for my lunch. I have one after having a lunch. And I think I ate half the packet because I was just in such a, and that Ruth's going to tell me off, which is this. She's not going to be up for it.
It's that whole thing as well, isn't it? If it's there, I find
That's the other version it
is that if you've got the temptation there in the cupboards, then that's part of the problem. So if you haven't got it there, then you won't. So it's like, I mean, I need to ask about this before. Rich lives on a road where there's a lot of options for either takeaways or shops or different things where he can quite easily fuel his habit.
I lived off Doc's Pizza when I first moved in here. It was over the road. And it was literally like two or three a day, 2 or 3 a week.
Can't be 2 or 3 a day.
There was sometimes 2 a day, which is terrible. I mean, but I was a lot younger then as well. It was like, well, it's 20 years ago.
Did we calculate the one day we did it where we walked from your front door and it was like 32 steps to their front door?
That was all your workout for the day.
You got 100 steps to go there and back.
You worked off like a tiny slice of the crust. It all falls to you to do it, and you'll do it when it's right for you to do it. It's one of those things where you've got to really believe it to do it. I'm one of them where I've got to really buy into something to really to do it. I've got to, and I think now where I'm at a point where at the start of the year, I tried not to catch my own gaze in like the reflection of a window, to the point where like I'll put on like a shirt that I've had to buy a new shirt because I now need the next size down. And I'm getting photos back from wrestling shows. I'm going, oh, look good, let's go. That is the reward in itself. That kind of puts all those feelings of like being really hungry and really sad and having to deal with that. That all puts it into perspective. I want to look nice for myself, or look nice for my wife, so she's got somebody nice to drag around with her. When you start seeing those results, that's when you really lock in and go, I want to keep doing this now.
I think we need to bring the weekly weigh-in back. I think that's the key. And
for me, that's the biggest thing for me was accountability. And if that works for you too, and if the accountability is going to do it, then absolutely do it.
I have actually restarted it just individually the last 2 weeks. Because I know we talked about it before and we stopped it on the podcast. And just personally, again, I've been away and done stuff and I came back and I felt a bit more. So the last 2 or 3 weeks, got back into exercising, got back on the scales, and you do the whole, that's bad. And then, you start targeting again. So I was going to say to you, I think it would be good to bring it back, definitely.
Do it. I think if that gives you, and whether it's just with you two on the podcast, whether it's something that you do online, it's just that accountability that for me really made me knuckle down a bit and go, well, I need to, I've got to do this now because I'm paying a $5 a week to do it. So I have to justify. I can't just pay a $5 a week and just constantly come in and go, I put another 3 pounds on. The whole Slimming World system, I adore the process of it all. When we went on a honeymoon, I weighed in at Slimming World and I had this phenomenal week where, and honestly, when I lock in, it blows my goddamn mind. I had a week where I lost 6 pounds. Because I'd walked like 20,000 steps a day. I'd started doing the fitness thing and I'd just been really like vigilant with what I was eating. And I lost 6 pounds. I hadn't drank that week because I was doing dry January. So that really helped. And I lost 6 pounds. I get in, let's go. And then I went on my honeymoon. We were away for 2.5 weeks. I came back and it was 6.5 pound gain. Because obviously it was an all-inclusive and I drank margaritas till I felt very sick and ate lots of nice food. And I remember almost bargaining with our leader. I was just like, I mean, if you think about it, I lost 6 before I left. I've put on 6.5. I've technically only gained half in 2 weeks. Whenever I go there and whenever I've had a gain, I'll always just start clapping anyway, because everyone claps. You clap when you lose weight. I always clap my gains as well. Yeah, let's go. How was your week, Tom? It's been brilliant. I mean, I've gained, but I've had a brilliant week. Yeah, so that's the fun of Slimming World. When I release the book, I'll talk all of it.
Are you thinking of doing a book at any point?
I'd love to do a book. Oh my God, the stories of radio years gone by. I'd love to write a book about some of the silly stuff that happened. And I get a lot of people ask me like how they get into radio now, and I feel really bad because the method I took to get into it, that road has sort of washed away because it's not there anymore. And I don't want to discourage anybody. I've said to a few people, like, if I was you and I had a passion to do radio at this point, I probably wouldn't pursue it. I'd be looking at making podcasts like yourselves. I'd be doing YouTube stuff. I'd be sort of marching to the beat of my own drum. That's what I'd be doing, as opposed to going down the radio route, because the way I got into it just doesn't exist anymore. Because I went in just shadowing the presenter, and then I was reading travel bulletins on a morning, and I was just sending in demos every day on cassette. And then eventually I was reading news for a bit, which is weird. And then I remember I was every day I was doing these news reading shifts. And then I was staying late and I was doing demos in the studio when nobody was in there, and then emailing them off to my old boss, Pete Wagstaff. And then the one day he bursts in and he says, "If I put you on air one time, will you stop emailing me?" I went, "Yes, I will. You're right. Bank holiday Monday, you're on 6 till 10. I was like, "Thank you very much." So I did. And I did it. And he went, "That was pretty good. I've got some more shifts if you want them." So he was just testing. And then it ended up it sort of went from there. Then I ended up working for, see, and you know what? This is lovely because my radio roots are deeply in my home of the West Midlands, because my first unpaid radio gig was Youthcom Radio, now known as Wyvern. My first paid gig was 107.2 The Wire in Kidderminster. And so I was working for them. I was working for Telford FM. My first breakfast show was for The 7, which broadcast across Shrewsbury and Oswestry. What a wonderfully weird patch Oswestry was, because it was sort of the last English town before you hit Wales. So you're on the Welsh border. And so like all the travel news is for Rill and Wrexham and all this. So like it's a straight, and the studios weren't in Oswestry. The studios were in Shrewsbury, but I did a breakfast show in the studio in Shrewsbury. But I was so passionate about wanting to make sure that I properly served where I lived. I was like, how far is, I don't drive. And I was like, how far is Oswestry from Shrewsbury? So it's about a 50-minute bus journey. So I went, right, every week I'm going to go, I'll do shopping and I'll go and just exist in Oswestry for a day. I'll do the show and I'll get this stupidly arsed long bus to Oswestry and I'll go and just spend the day in Oswestry. I'll do stuff, I'll go explore places, and I'll get one of the last buses back, and I've got points of reference and I can talk about stuff. It's like, okay, then some days I might go to Gabowen. There's about two houses and a dog in Gabowen. Well, I'll go to Gabowen. I want to go to these places that I'm serving, and make sure that I actually know what they're about. I love doing that show. There were some changes in the station in 2010, and I always remember there was a guy who worked on the show in Shrewsbury, and the studios were moving to Telford. And he said, I said, "So what's going to happen when we get there?" They said, I think everything's just going to carry on as normal. Everything will be fine. Everything will carry on as normal. Not telling me that he was the one that was planning all the studio spaces and there wasn't a studio for me, but just led me along to say everything will be fine. And then lo and behold, a week before we move, I'm told, "Yeah, we don't need you anymore." I was like, all right, cool. It's handy. I end up just sticking around though, doing cover work and voice tracking shows. And I ended up bouncing to Wolverhampton. I did a breakfast show for The Wolf, as it was then known. So I took over from the mighty Neil Jackson and Dickie Dodd. And carried on, and I sort of carried on that legacy. And then I got offered a gig working for Heart, and that brought me to Newcastle. And I've now been I moved to Newcastle in 2015 to do afternoons on Heart up here. I started that job in 2015. I left in 2019 when everything changed. I've now been up here longer not working for Heart than I have been working for Heart, which is weird because Heart was what brought me over here in the first place. It was all just really, the universe works in wonderful ways. I was never here to work for Heart forever. I was up here to meet my wife. That was kind of what led me here, because it was at Heart that I met Alex, and we're now married. So that was why the universe brought me like so stupidly far up to the northeast of England. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love, like, life up here is wonderful. Like, it's a really lovely, the people are lovely, and the energy around living in Newcastle is something that we both love. We're both house hunting at the moment. So the dream is that we really settle down and set some roots up somewhere, maybe on the coast. And because we could move anywhere in the world, and we still might, the universe does weird things. But if we have our way, we'd be up here for ages. But there's so many. But between that first show on the Wire in Kidderminster, which I believe the studio is now a KFC. I want to say off the Stourport Road. From there to sitting with you guys today, some of silly stuff has happened in the middle, and I think there's a book in it, and I don't know who'd read it.
Wrestling fans will read it.
There might be a lot of wrestling stuff in there, which is what might put them off. Like, we haven't really talked about much wrestling stuff here today, which is fine, because there's lots of other stuff that happens. But I don't know. It'd be nice to do it. I don't know how many people would read it. I'd say, my dad would read it, my mum would read it, just out of politeness and just to check I'd been nice to him.
There is something I did find on your episode of Desert Island Graps. You mentioned you'd always wanted to work for BRMB.
96.4 FM BRMB. Sorry, carry on.
Did you know it's back?
Yes, my friend Paul Ellery is running it, and we have messaged back and forth about me possibly doing something there. So it's a box I would love to tick.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's this. So Paul Ellery is the guy behind it. He has also bought the rights to the name Wyvern. So he took over Youthcon Radio and turned it into Wyvern, which was Herefordshire, Worcestershire's pop music station. So he's doing both of those, and I love the commitment to bringing back BRMB, because he even brought back Les Ross. I listened to it and I went, I love Les. He sounds like he's just been like in carbonite for 20 years, and they've just poured him out, and it's just Les Ross again. I'm like, this is amazing. And I enjoyed it because he just I think there was a whole conversation that producer Paul had toast with nuts in the toast, and nuts with bread with nuts in it. And this was like a revelation to Les Ross. And I was like, this is great. It's just like they've just thawed him out. Get on your computer. I was like, yes. And I thought, this is how he always sounded. So I went on AirCheck downloads and just found an old Les Ross show on BRMB. I went, yeah, this is exactly how he always sounded. Like, this is just the true Les Ross. And I'm delighted. And I love listening to it because it is just a nice flashback to my year. I briefly worked for Wyvern. So I got to do that, which was lovely. That was it. I worked in the station I grew up listening to as a Worcestershire boy. So working for Wyvern was amazing. The first show I did on Wyvern, it was a Saturday. It was 2 till 6. And I was living away from home at this point, and I said to Mum and Dad, do you mind if I come and stop on Saturday night? I'm doing Wyvern on Saturday. And Dad was like, oh, bloody hell, yeah, we'll get it on. We'll get on the come stay with us. And just as the show, about 10 minutes before the end of the show, my dad sent me a text, and he went, well done, lad, you sounded great. There's a pint in the pub for you at the local. So get a taxi, come and have a pint with your old man. So I finished the show, we got to the pub, and Dad's in there with his mate, and his wife comes over to me, his mate's wife, not my dad's wife, because that's my mum. Be a weird way to introduce it to the story. My dad's mate comes over with his wife, and his wife says to me, I heard you today. I said, yeah, I heard you. You were good. And she went, actually, you're better than the proper ones. Because I was Gary's lad. They were like, oh, they're letting Gary's lad have a go. They must be desperate. Like, because I wasn't a presenter. I've been doing presenting for years by this point. I was just Gary's lad in my hometown. And like, yeah, you're better than the proper ones. I thought, you know what? I never want to be a proper one. I will strive to never truly be a proper one. And if I feel like I'm getting too polished, I'll pare it back.
Well, you mentioned about the, obviously we're not talking much wrestling. I can actually link BRMB to wrestling. Do you remember the old radio cafe in Birmingham? The BRMB radio cafe?
Was that downstairs from BRMB?
Yeah, so it was, they moved to Broad Street, they were up on the top, and below was the radio cafe.
Yeah.
Where they'd broadcast everything. And while BRMB is playing, I was inside the radio cafe meeting Scott Hall, doing the 2 Sweet with him.
Wow. Well, what year would this have been?
Oh my God, this is like 2000.
Oh God.
Late stages of WCW.
So that would have been on the last WCW tour they did in the UK.
It was the last but one. The one where, so the tour didn't have Goldberg, it didn't have Sting. It had the main event that they build up as the greatest wrestling rivalry you'd know. And everyone was like, it's going to be Ric Flair against Hogan. I know this is back in the time when everyone just went, well, Hogan doesn't do UK, does it?
I know this is great.
So everyone was like, and out comes Kurt Hennig to wrestle here. And we were like, okay, but they had like a feud for like 10 minutes in the WWF. What's going on?
The greatest feud of all time. It got worse in Liverpool. There was the Liverpool show was so bad, it ended up on Watchdog.
Oh, wow.
Because it was so because there were all those talents on the posters who weren't there. And then the main event was the Marmalukes versus the Harris twins.
Oh, wow.
And people complained to Watchdog, and people complained to Trading Standards, because they're like, we bought these high price tickets to see Goldberg and the Stars, and it's like Harris twins versus the Mob. The main events.
Did see we saw Dustin Rose wrestle Terry Funk and hit him with a chicken.
That's on brand to actually. You know what? That's typical WCW television. That is. So that's more reflective of the brand than that Kurt Hennig main event was.
Oh, definitely. It did.
Should have been last, to be honest.
It ended with a massive run-in of like Jeff Jarrett coming in to attack. I think it was Ric Flair, and then Buff Bagwell coming to save him, going, I may not be Goldberg, I may not be Sting, but I am Buff and I am the stuff. And it was just like, yep, people wanted Goldberg and Sting.
I love when wrestlers go, yeah, I know this is shit, but never mind.
Surely you're going to have to tell Tom that obviously when Hogan doesn't come to you, you have to go to Hogan.
Oh, there, of course.
Which we did.
So when we were 21, we went to New York. And I had to, obviously T.A. had watched some wrestling. I've been into it since like 1992 was sort of a big thing. Like the Royal Rumble 92 was my big one. And so we go to New York, and two of our friends who we went with did not like wrestling. I had to get on my knees in the pub and beg them. I was like, please, will you come to the wrestling? We went down to see it. Hulk Hogan was there as Mr. America. That's the era we're talking.
Nice.
We saw Roddy Piper, Eddie Guerrero was there. The big show, the main event was randomly Team Angle and the Big Show against Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle, and Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And it was the last appearance for Hogan for a while. It was after, when he had that fallout with Vince and he disappeared.
Yeah, so they were was this 02 or 03?
03.
03. Right. Yeah, and they just sort of randomly just ended the Mr. America thing where they played like what happened after SmackDown one night. When, as you could see, he took his mask off. Haha.
That was the SmackDown we were at, the one where he lifts the mask up at the end and he's like, yeah, we were at that. And T.A. loves it because, well, I'll let you tell the story, T.A., because you take such glee in it of me in the 20 minutes.
We had seats right up at the back in the gods. Rich did find himself rushing as far down as he could from where we were to look at Hulk and do the whole, thing for about
the ear cupping. Yeah.
It was also one of my favourite moments we had some people sat next to us. There was a guy with his son, obviously they're American, and his son was asking him for a hot dog. And in the most dismissive way ever, his dad just sort of pushed his hand away and went, "Quiet, son, I'm watching the Hulk." It's one of the best parents in things like in it sing.
"Quiet, son, I'm watching the Hulk."
It was literally that, which was great. But yeah, in terms of then, do you want to tell us a bit about obviously the Cultaholic being brought about by representatives from What Culture Wrestling and Breaking Away? How did you come to be part of that?
So that all happened before I joined. So yeah, that was a big bit of wrestling news. That was when the multiple of my favourite presenters from What Culture, because I was watching What Culture at this point, all went off and just left the company and then suddenly started to do their own thing. And I'm a fan from the beginning. I'm working for Hart at this point, and I just like watching them on a daily basis. I think they're all good lads. They ended up coming to a North Wrestling show where I'm the ring announcer for. And so I hosted like a pre-show quiz with Jack the Jobber in it. So that's the first time I'd met him properly. And they stuck around for the rest of the show. And then I had a conversation with quite an inebriated Adam Pacitti in the beer garden during the show. And he was like, "You're really good." And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And he was very complimentary. And then he said, "Would you be up for maybe doing something with us at some point?" I went, "Yeah, I'd be down for a chat." This ends up being a weekly classic Raw review. So where every week we watch an episode of Monday Night Raw from the very beginning with their American writers. They got an American writer by the name of Justin Henry. He's an unsung hero at Cultaholic, and he's a good lad. And he wanted to do something a little bit different, and he wanted to do a podcast about old episodes of Raw. And he wanted to do it with Matthew Gregg from Botchamania. Matthew was a bit too busy, so they asked me instead. He wasn't too busy, so I'm glad I was second choice. But we ended up having a good bit of banter together, and we ran this show. So I was doing the show every week for them. I wasn't in the office, but I was on a weekly doing these classic reviews. And then in 2019, about 2 or 3 weeks after I'd been told that we were all being let go from Heart, and I was going to be with them till the end of May, and then that was going to be that. Adam messaged me, and he said, like, all the team are off to Vegas for AEW Double or Nothing. We're doing coverage in Vegas. We're a bit short-handed in the office. Would you be up for coming in and doing some news videos with us? So I was like, yeah, why not? I can do that in the morning because I do the show in the afternoon. Let's do it. So I went in for a week, and I was doing the news videos. So just hosting them alongside Adam, and then sort of helping sort of put them together as much as I could. And by the end of the week, took me to one side and he said, we'd like to offer you a full-time job. So obviously I'd done something right in that week where they went, yeah, we really like. I think generally I'm very blessed in that the reaction online to somebody new coming in and doing it was actually really nice. Normally when something changes, the reaction's quite aggressive. People don't like change. But people were very complimentary, and they were very supportive of me coming on. And they said, when's Tom going to do more stuff? And I said, well, all the lads are back, so I'll disappear again. But then the timing of it was so wonderful because it meant that I finished up with Heart. I took a month off. Alex and I went away. We went to Iceland, which is lovely, with my redundancy from Heart. That was nice. Then come the sort of tail end of 2019, I start working for Cultaholic full time, reading the news. It's one of those jobs when everyone's got so many other things going on. They didn't have anybody specifically there to sort of write and present the news videos on a morning. Like we do 2 news videos per morning, and I think it was a case of everyone had their own shows and their own sort of features and specials that they did. So everybody was kind of fighting to kind of make time to do these videos, which were a part of our schedule. So I said, look, I don't want to come in and have a thing. They wanted somebody to come in and do podcasts as well because they wanted to explore more podcast stuff. So I said, well, that's audio's kind of my bag. I'm up for doing that. But I said, I don't want a thing other than that. I'll just make news my thing, and I'll focus on that. So I was the one that was building news videos and just having fun in the videos. And I like to think that I injected some fun into it, and I've made them a silly part of the schedule that people are quite happy to come and get involved with. Not that they weren't before, but I think I unlocked probably how much fun you could have on them if you let them. So that was in 2019. The world shut down. So where I'm currently sat now became like Cultaholic Site D. We were hosting news videos from here for a year and a bit. And yeah, I've now been there since, now been there 21, I've been there nearly 6 years now. 6 years coming up. Again, longer than I've been at Heart, which is funny. But they're such a lovely team. I'm forever grateful to Adam Bicchetti and to Ross and to Jack and to Sam, who were the shareholders there as well, because they gave me a lifeline and allowed me to stay in the Northeast, and they allowed me to have like a dream job after a dream job. Like I was leaving a job that I thought I was destined to do forever, and I was really gutted about it, but I understood it. And then to go, okay, sorry that the radio thing hasn't worked out. Would you like a full-time job covering professional wrestling? I was like, wow. Like there's days where I get quite frustrated with things that maybe aren't going according to plan, and I get a bit up in my own head, and I have to really stop myself sometimes and go, I mean, look at what you've got around you. You've met someone that you love the absolute bones off, and you're with for as long as she'll have you. And you're doing a job which doesn't even feel like work. It hasn't felt like work for a long time. And the minor inconveniences that come along the way, they are just that. And it's just a case of always, and if I leave with anything today, it's that whole thing of, we all have those days where everything's really difficult, and I don't want to discount or undersell what some people are going through. But sometimes you've got to really take a little beat and go and look look for the positive because they're not that far away. Sometimes we lose sight of them. Like with both yourselves, I know like every day there's probably bits and things that come your way that annoy you, frustrate you, stress you out. But then I bet if you look to the big picture, you go, actually, you know what? We're doing all right. You know what I mean?
I think so, yeah. I think definitely.
We've certainly looked back on doing this over what's been nearly 12 months now, isn't it, really? And we've said that at times. We can't believe, some of the conversations we've had and interviews with different people and whatnot. Yeah, when you look back, it's quite incredible, really.
But I think it's that, and also in your own lives as well, like with yourself, Rich, and yourself, T.A., and look at the things that you've got to do. And, we're never the finished picture. Nothing's perfect. It's all progression rather than perfection. But yeah, it's if you take anything from this today, if you're listening to this, try to take time just to take a beat and go, actually, there's a lot of good around me. Even when it doesn't feel like there is, try and find the good, because from that, you can truly put a lot of the bad into some perspective at least. And again, I don't want to discount what people are going through, but a lot of the times, if I take a beat and go, you know what, actually, things are all right, it does put a lot into perspective.
100%.
Springer's final thought.
Weirdly, we have a tradition on the podcast where we hand over to the guest at the end for a final reflection, and it feels like that. What would just that be done without having to prompt you to this?
Like I've heard this show before. Almost like I've done my research.
It's been really brilliant talking to you, Tom. Thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having me both.
Is there anything you want to say just to sort of sign off for the episode?
Find me on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X because that's madness. At Tom Campbell. I do a lot. I'm on TikTok a bit more. I'm putting stuff on TikTok now, like bits of ring announcing and stuff like that, which is another string to my bow. I'm putting a lot of that on there as well, just so Michael Buffer doesn't eat me. I'm not saying let's get ready to rumble. So you can seek me out on there, or just follow us on Cultaholic Wrestling on YouTube. If you're a big wrestling geek, come find us there. We're there every single day, talking some utter twaddle about wrestling, and we'd be very honoured to have you there. And if you have come here from Cultaholic Wrestling, I would be reticent if I didn't sign off by saying, stay safe and love you, bye.
One more middle-aged podcast in your life?
Of course you do. Follow us on social media for behind-the-scenes stuff, extra larks, and all our latest updates.
We're on Instagram and Threads at Middle-aged Bodcast.
Facebook's easier. Just head to facebook.com/middle-aged podcast.
If you're still hanging on to Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, we're at Middle-aged Bodcast.
And if you're on Blue Sky, it's at middleagedpodcast.bsky.social.
Or you can swing by our website, middleagedpodcast.co.uk.
Give us a follow and stay in the loop.
Cheers for listening.
Two best mates, yeah, they take you to stand. Rich and T.A, got your health in the hands. Weigh-ins, laps, and tales they tell. For beats and nights, the workouts, they're keeping it real. Oh, it's the middle-aged